Morning again. Which day was it? Hell, it didn't even matter to me. I've been playing so much Diablo 3, I couldn't tell you if the sun were coming up or going down. Still, this was it. This was the life I chose. Sitting around in the city of angels, waiting for something to happen. Go to school, get good grades, go to college, find a wife, have a couple of kids, buy a house. That wasn't my life. This was the life I chose. Maybe it's the life that chose me. Either way, I had to give my opinion of Max Payne 3.
I was pretty excited for Max Payne 3 to come out, even though I hadn't actually played the first two games. In fact, my only real experience with Max Payne is that really crappy Mark Wahlberg movie, but I'm guessing that's not a very good representation of the Max Payne franchise on the whole. And although I don't know much about the game franchise, I was excited because obviously this is a Rockstar game and I love all of their games. But mostly because I like the idea of playing a video game protagonist who's not the sort of atypical late 20s, early 30s, super in shape, brown hair with 5 o'clock shadow who makes funny quips, when he snaps a bad guy's neck. A lot of video game protagonists just end up looking exactly like Nathan Drake from Uncharted. I mean, there've been video game protagonists that look like that long before Uncharted, but he's sort of the atypical example of what a traditional video game protagonist is. But here comes Max Payne 3, where you play an ex-cop who's on the wrong side of 40, he's got a little bit too much weight, and a real big problem with drugs and alcohol. Max Payne is a guy with nothing left to lose. He's lost everyone he's ever cared about, and he knows he's pretty much worthless as a human being, and doesn't hide that fact. So when the opportunity rolls around to move to South America and play bodyguard for a rich family while drinking his sorrows away on the company dime, he jumped at the opportunity. Unfortunately, this being a video game, it can't just be about this guy sitting around getting drunk while he feels sorry for himself, though I would like to see somebody try that one day. It seems the Bronco family has made some enemies in Brazil, and somebody's out to hurt them, and it's Max Payne's job as their bodyguard to protect them. And being the fat, useless drunk that he is, he screws it up and gets the trophy wife kidnapped. So now it's Max Payne's job to travel through the underbelly of this South American hellhole to try and rescue this woman and maybe a little piece of his soul. Along the way, Max Payne travels through all kinds of picturesque locations in Brazil and meets new and interesting natives to shoot in the head in slow motion. And you really do end up shooting a whole mess of people. The story has a lot of really nice twists and turns, and it plays out as a really dark hero's journey. It seems to borrow heavily from that Denzel Washington movie Man on Fire, which is fine because I really like that movie. Apart from all that storytelling and cutscenes and whatnot, what's the gameplay like, you might ask? Well, if you shut up for a second, I'll tell you. The game's basically a third-person cover-based shooter that doesn't rely too heavily on cover and mostly is about gunplay. It seems to try really hard to make every gunfight feel like a little mini action scene from a movie. There is cover to hide behind occasionally, but not as much as you would like, and it's mostly about, being aggressive, running in, killing a bunch of dudes, and then jumping and hitting your bullet time so you're going in slow motion and trying to get like 18,000 headshots all in one big go. And while there are a couple of moments where it feels like they throw a little bit too many enemies at you, and sometimes the checkpoints can feel a little too far away, overall the gunplay works really well. The bad guys all react really well to being shot in certain areas. If you hit a guy in the shoulder, he'll jerk back, or you hit him in the legs, he'll collapse over, but he might not be dead, so he'll just roll over and get up, and it all works out really well. And the bullet time stuff is always great. You're hiding behind a piece of cover, and then you click the button and just dive out from under it and with your 2 pistols and just unload on a whole group of enemies. The variety of weapons is all very nice. You have, various pistols, machine pistols, and rifles and shotguns and all of that. And the pacing in the game is pretty good as well, because you might have, a couple of these smaller fights where you fight 3 or 4 guys, and then you have a bigger fight where you'll get a big group of guys, and then you just won't have a fight where you just be walking through a corridor while, Max Payne narrates the entire thing. Besides the campaign mode, they also have an arcade mode where you play through missions in the single player, but in sort of a score attack way, trying to rack up the most points or get through at the fastest time. And they also have a rather healthy dose of competitive multiplayer. Besides the traditional, deathmatch, team deathmatch kind of stuff, they also have some interesting modes like Gang War, where you're kind of 2 sides fighting each other and doing objectives like trying to plant bombs or protect a VIP. as well as Painkiller mode, where one player is randomly selected to be Max Payne, and you have slightly more health and some new abilities, and then whoever kills that player gets to become Max Payne. You keep going until somebody wins with enough points or time runs out. As you play the multiplayer, you gain experience and you level up and you get new weapons and all that kind of traditional stuff, but they also added clan support so that you and your buddies can create a clan, or a gang as they call it, to play with each other. And the gangs actually persist beyond Max Payne, so you can actually carry them into Grand Theft Auto 5 whenever the hell that comes out. So there you have it, Max Payne 3. It's a blast to play. I would totally recommend you go out and get this. Maybe if you're a big PC guy, it comes out on PC in a few weeks, but Xbox, PS3, it's out right now. Go get it. It's super fun. A bit heavy-handed in the story department, but I really like the story anyways. But the multiplayer is a lot of fun. There's a bit of replay value to it. Pretty decent length in the campaign, and it's just overall a really fun game and a bit more of a mature game, not mature in the way of boobs and gore and stuff, but more in a slightly more adult storytelling, which I like.